gosh, all that food is making me hungry. Of course, still got 15 minutes to go, so I guess I gotta wait. But if you were heading out this evening and maybe you don't want to wait even a few more minutes, the forecast looks pretty great. You can see a lot of blue sky conditions across the area, only a few clouds mixing in here and there, as it really is going to be one of the most comfortable evenings we've seen in quite some time to get out and maybe enjoy a nice dinner on the patio. In fact, your evening out forecast showing the mid to upper 80s right now for a feels like temperature. We'll drop to around the 80-degree mark by 9 o'clock just after sunset. And really, we are going to notice that trend of more comfortable air mixing in even more so as we head through this evening and overnight into Saturday. And the reason why, this wonderful, wonderful cold front that we have just been itching for pretty much all week. Right now, it has shifted southeast of the Charlotte metro area, but we are going to wait a little bit longer for that dry air to really be drug in overnight. This is really going to drop our temperatures a little bit, but our dew points are going to be much more significant. Of course, the dew points, the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, we're going to be looking at that green, that coloring showing the low 50s, upper 40s by tomorrow morning, 53 in Charlotte, 49 in the mountains. But notice that even as we approach the afternoon, still seeing dew points in the 50s for most of the area. Now, Sherrod, Rockingham, you might get the worst of this in terms of lower humidity, as you are going to see a few spots there in the mid 60s through this weekend. But it really is going to be a great weekend to get outside. The wind might become breezy at times with that front rolling through tomorrow, but it's not going to be enough, to create any major issues. Upper 80s in the afternoon, abundant sunshine. Tomorrow, certainly the pick of the weekend if you want to get outside. A little bit hotter, a little bit more humid on Sunday, but it's still going to be much more comfortable than we have been lately. And Sunday morning, 64 degrees. It could be our coolest morning in about 2 months, 58 days. So it is certainly going to be a nice weekend ahead. And with that cold front moving through, high pressure moves in after it. Well, that sinking motion of air keeps us mostly storm free as we head through this weekend and early half of next week. But eventually, this high pressure system is going to have a bit of a different impact on our forecast. Notice that it moves right over the Carolinas by Monday. This will bring in a south to southwesterly wind, which is oftentimes referred to as the blowtorch here in the Carolinas. This is really going to crank up our air temperature. We are talking 96 degrees possible on Monday, 98 possible on Tuesday. So certainly could be some of the hottest air we've seen so far this summer. But here's a little asterisk. Here's a little caveat here. Look at the air temperature compared to the humidity level. Last week, or earlier this week that is, we were talking air temp in the mid 90s, but the heat index was over 105. That's why we had those heat advisories. So for this upcoming, at least early half to the week, you are going to notice the actual air temperature. A lot of headlines talking about the hottest air so far this season, but it's likely not going to feel hot enough for a heat advisory to be issued. That's not to say that you won't still want to stay hydrated and take those breaks, things like that. I just don't want anyone to be concerned where they're thinking, oh, well, if the air temperature is hotter, that means our feels like temperatures are going to go up even more. As of right now, that doesn't look to be the case. Quick update for you on the tropics. I'm going to step off because there's just a lot of action to show. We have 4 areas of interest, 4 areas of low pressure to talk about here. Essentially, all of them are just spots to watch. No immediate threat to the Carolinas, but I'll tell you that long-range models right now are indicating that the 2 most likely ones to develop right now, the furthest away from our area, a lot of that model data does actually keep these out to sea. The one with a high chance of becoming our next named storm, that's the furthest one here to your right. Model data almost certainly keeps it out to sea. This one, a little bit of a question mark, but it's that time of year. Don't forget, look at the calendar, right? September 10th is the peak of hurricane season. So even if no storm comes anywhere close to us, we got to talk about it, but it is certainly that time of the year. Check out the Guide Roofing 7-day forecast. You can see Saturday and Sunday. Again, lots of sunshine, drier air mixing in, very comfortable to kick off Saturday morning. Then, of course, we turn our attention to the hotter air Monday and Tuesday. But for next weekend, we'll likely be closer to maybe that average lower 90s, feels like temperatures in the lower 100s, and that'll be just in time for the Panthers on Friday to be back at home at Bank of America Stadium. Then we have Charlotte FC on Saturday, maybe hoping that it was going to be as nice as this weekend, but we're still excited for them to be back, regardless of the weather.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Won't matter. People will be excited either way. You're right, Brittany. Thanks so much for the heads up.